Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. I got the battery box mounted up there. New mounts are much more better. And yeah, they work really good. I'm able to drop this thing down. All I gotta do is just bring a jack under here, put a little bit of pressure on it, get the weight off the bolts, pull them out, let the pressure out of the jack, and then it's just a reverse to get it back up there. But getting the holes to line up and everything is very easy, and that is exactly what I was shooting for. So I'm thrilled to death with how that came out. I think it looks 1,000 times better than previously. It's seriously overbuilt, but that's okay. Yeah, so next thing now, I'm going to drop this thing down, put the foam in it, get all the batteries loaded up, make sure they fit. And, oh yeah, here's a little short clip on right before I got everything together. One of the things I've been worried about with this battery box and this new system that I'm coming up with is keeping these aligned so that the bar is just keeping everything square and parallel, but you know, it's got like a lot of movement stuff. So that means to me that these are parallel with each other, or they're perpendicular with each other and parallel to each other, so that it's, you know, kind of square. And I wanted to keep that when I was tack welding these. If you remember, I had a problem because I would tack weld this and it would pull this out of alignment, so I had to use the TIG welder to heat that weld puddle up, sort of pull this side up a little bit, let it cool, pull it back down into alignment, and I had to fuss with that for a little bit on both sides. And once it was all in there and good and tacked, I needed to weld this thing solid. I want to weld it solid before I go and put my new mounts in place. My new mounts are over here. Here they are. So that's the new mounts. I'm not going to bother plating in what will essentially be the inside. This is the side you'll see from the bottom, but I don't see any real reason to plate the inside. The tops are going to be welded on both sides, and I can probably reach in there and get a little bit on the inside too if I want to. But I don't see any reason to go overboard with that. It would be kind of cool if I could put like holes in there, you know, to add some lightness, but probably won't do that either. The one thing I did need to do is have these welded solidly as they're going to be before I lift this whole thing up under the bed and place those mounts, get everything square and level and where I want it, and then start welding in those mounts. Because if I didn't do that, I put those mounts under the bed, then I drop this down to weld it, and if any of this were to have shifted, then it could have made running the bolts in very difficult. And the way I did it was I just came down here at the bottom and just sort of welded this bottom little corner and this bottom little corner, made sure it turned. Welded this bottom corner, that bottom corner, made sure it turned. Did about 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, still turned, 3/4, 3/4, and then just did that in several steps. You can see there. That way I didn't run the risk of, if I ran a continuous hot bead, it could have popped one of these tacks, one of these TIG weld tacks loose and knocked the whole thing out, and then I'd have had a world of trouble because now I have a lot of weld to take care of. So that's what I did. And I just kind of stepped my way up, and it's fine. And it never did lock up, and it worked really great, both sides. And next thing I'm going to do right now, in fact, is I'm going to go ahead and drill and tap my holes for my lid. Yeah, that's how that worked. Anyway, so now I'm going to pull this thing down, get all the foam in it, and test fit all the batteries because I don't know if they're going to fit. Yeah, I'll see you later. Well, like I said, I got that battery box down, and now the next job at hand is to put the cells in here and make sure it fits. And it doesn't. It mostly doesn't. If I put them in this way and have them, so 7 across that way and 5 down this way, they fit. And they fit pretty well. There's a little bit of play in there. I'm not too fond of that. But they do. They fit in there. They slide in really nice. If I put them in the way that I intended, a whole bunch, be 18 this way, and then a row of 18 that way, they fit, but they're too tight. They are just too tight. I would not be able to get them out. Like, I could get them in by standing on it, but I would never be able to get them out again. And obviously that's a problem. Maybe I'd never need to, but I might need to. I wouldn't be able to. And if you did some quick math, if I did 18 this way, 18 that way, that's 36. But if I did 7 this way and 5 that way, that's 35. So Isn't it crazy? This little bit of motion times 5 rows, this motion spread out over 35 cells equals 1 cell. Isn't that wild? But that's how it is. So what I need to do is I need to reduce the thickness of this by a 1/16 of an inch. Or reduce the thickness of this one by 32nd and this one by a 32nd. One or the other. The 1/16 of an inch needs to go away. What I think I'm going to try and do is run over it with a car. So we're going to try and run over it with a car. Put a piece of wood on top of it, make some little ramps, and maybe that'll work. If that doesn't work, then I've got a buddy up the road. He's got a planer, like a wood planer. I might try and run it through that. I don't know if it'll cut nice. It probably won't. It will definitely make a mess, but it might also get stuck and chip up everywhere. Anyway, that's what I'm going to try and do. Okay. All right, there it is. I got all 38 cells in there. Took a little bit of massaging of the foam board. The first thing I did was took just that rod over here, 1¼ rod. It's the same rod that I used to line up these mounting tabs. So I used that in kind of like a rolling pin and started at one end and just sort of rolled it onto the other. And all I need to do is just reduce it by about a 1/16 of an inch to make it fit well. And they almost did it. And then what I ended up doing was going over here to my little arbor press and just had a piece of flat metal on top and a piece of flat on bottom, and then just sort of went down the line and just sort of smooshed it down one way and flipped it over and smooshed it down the other way, and did that to, I ended up doing it to both sides, and that ended up getting enough out of it. And yeah, these batteries are in here really good. They're not going to move or vibrate or anything. And I was extra special careful to make sure that my negative positive was right. One thing that I do not like about these cells is if you look, that's a positive and negative, but the positive actually has a black circle on it. And it's like, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did this. I hate that they did that. But black is I gotta be very careful about that. And in fact, when I was going through here double checking and triple checking to make sure that all these are correct, I did actually find 2 of them that were wrong. I had actually put the caps on wrong previously because the color of the terminals messed me up. But anyway, I got that all sorted out, and I am able to take these cells out. It's not easy, but all I do is just take the caps off, put the little terminal bolts in there, and then you just use 2 pair of pliers and pull it up straight and even, and that works pretty good. And yeah, that's it. So they're all in there, and the final weight on this is 207.8 pounds. There it is. And very, very happy with that. I may or may not actually take these out of here. This all needs to get a coat of paint on it, but I could quite easily just make a piece of cardboard to, you know, set on top of this and protect it from any overspray, and then just go through here and spray the inside of that nice and, you know, call it good. So I don't really have to take this out of here. I probably will take them out because I'd like to put this battery box back up into position so that I can final weld my mounts with this there. I probably will pull those cells out of there. That way I can just roll this thing back up underneath there and finish weld it all. But for the time being, I'm going to leave it in there because I think it's kind of cool. I wish I had like some rollers. I wish I had a little table with some rollers on it. That way I could at least move this thing around. But yeah, there it is. That's yeah, I'd say this is a pretty successful day. I did get all the holes drilled and tapped for my lid. They came out really good. Happy about that. And yeah, I got a little bit of a mess to clean up here. And I think we're going to call it a day for today. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.